Listen, man.
All right, we got him.
We like to apologize.
For what? To absolutely no one. The two-time champ does absolutely fucking nothing.
This is episode 3, Main Chafford podcast. We're talking about Moon Knight, episode 3. Episode titled The Friendly Type. Yeah. What do you, man, think on this episode? How you feeling?
Something like.
It's not really sure what to say, man. I'm a bit disappointed by the show so far. I feel like it's quite it's not a bad show. I can't say it's a bad. I've seen a fair few bad shows in my time, so I wouldn't call it a bad show. I just think it's not lived up to expectations for me so far. And this episode obviously had a lot more going for it. There's obviously a lot more action. The plot does advance, and you do get a lot more mythology on Khonshu and his motivations. But I still just feel like there's a lot missing from the overarching plot. Like I'm not really not that I'm not buying or I'm not following it, but I'm not really invested. So yeah, I'm kind of disappointed so far, if I was to be honest.
Thank goodness it's like 6 episodes, because it's one of them ones that if it had been like 10 or even more, you could have easily checked out. Or if it was like, you know how Flash used to have like 20-something episodes, that you just mentally you're drained. So I'm at that point.
No, we weren't mentally drained. It's just that once the writing was a bit.
Once the writing
that's when a lot of people began to just leave.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, my point is, if you're already not invested, and then the show has better episodes, you just think, no, this ain't for me. I'm a come away from that. But I think I agree with you, Collins. They're definitely advancing the plot. They're trying to put them in situations which should be exciting, but for whatever reason, it's just not connecting. It's not hitting. Do you know what it might have been like? Maybe it should have just stayed Steven. Because I'm just not rocking with Mark, man.
Why not? I thought last episode you said you weren't rocking with Steven. I'm confused.
Did I say that?
I swear you said the Steven guy being confused is annoying.
Nah, sure. I'm with the British, man. You know?
No, it's even more interesting on this episode in particular due to the fact that Steven, well, in I want to say in like the early stage of the episode when he's in Egypt, Steven and Mark do not know who's taking over the body. So that's very interesting to see in the next episode. And then also, I do personally, as a born-again Christian, I don't subscribe to any of this mythology and stuff like that. You know, these small G gods, these small gods. Do you get what I'm saying? These corner shop gods. But anyways,
the corner shop gods.
Like I say,
that's hilarious.
But what I can say is that it was very interesting to see how the gods just had enough in it. They just checked out. They checked out and said, "We're gonna do whatever we can in this world by using people as avatars, i.e., possession. But we're just going to go along with the storyline and just say they use them as avatars." So it was very interesting to see some of the other gods there, which I thought was kind of fascinating about the episode.
I mean, yeah, that was an interesting element, especially to see how they abandoned. Because they weren't getting worshipped anymore. They thought, nah, dead this. So it was interesting to see how quickly they'd given up, or not how quickly, but how much they'd given up on humanity. Khonshu was arguing for his life. My man was like on his knees. Yo, listen to what I have to say. Clever from the villain, who so far, Ethan Hawke's character, is seeming to be one of the best characters in it. With what he's bringing to the table, obviously managed to trick gods. I don't know how no one in Marvel's... I couldn't live in the world of Marvel now. Do you know what I mean? My man's twisting up the stars and stuff. I don't know how... The astrology girls are going to be pissed.
He was whipping and flipping the work. Do you know one thing that really annoys me though? do you know, do you know what?
You're stupid.
He actually was though. He was actually whipping and flipping it. Do you know what really pisses me off though? The show has managed to fall into this, and Marvel are making a habit out of this, and it's getting on my nerves a bit. They're falling into this trope of introducing to us all powerful, all seeing gods, or all seeing creatures or demi creatures, whatever you want to call them, who see what the people on Earth are doing, but are choosing just to not meddle and just to watch. They did it in Eternals. They did it with this, with their, as Eman quoted, corner shop gods. They've done it, and it's beginning to become like a common comic book trope or tripe, and I'm beginning to get tired of it now. Like, okay,
you can't tell me these men aren't seeing the atrocities going on.
Like, y'all saw racism, like you said, y'all saw racism. Like, y'all ain't doing that. Y'all saw slavery. Y'all ain't done nothing about that.
Just kicking back. How?
I think that's because they have to allow the storyline of superheroes to actually exist.
It's just lazy.
If
though.
gods were just to interfere all the time, then
it's not even. Do you know what? It's not even stuff like that. Do you know what jars me the most?
Hold on. More importantly, if you look at it, if the Egyptian corner shop gods were to intervene at the same time the Eternals were to intervene, and then there is the Celestials that were to intervene, this is going to cause a problem. So I think that's why they just stepped back and just said, all right, man, let's see the people do what the people do, innit?
Yeah, but they all had their different reasons for doing it. Like, they didn't all come to a meeting and come together and say, all right, everyone's chilling. Do you know? That weren't the case. I don't even think the Eternals know these gods. And if they do, they know them in the same sense that we do. Like, they're myths. It's all mythology. Do you know? So,
but then it kind of confuses the whole thing, because there's Athena, the goddess of whatever
war. And now you're telling me the 4 trailers just dropped. Zeus is a real thing.
Yeah, they're
doing a lot. They're doing a lot, man.
They're backing themselves in a bit of a corner here. And they need to stop doing like world-changing things and then just be like, oh, well, that's cool. No one's calling the Avengers. The sky is flipping. Do you know how mad that is? Like, the sky is doing backflips.
And no one's doing nothing about it. It's just
Homeboy is just in Louisiana with his sister that can't afford the crib. Come on.
Yeah, it's a bit silly. I will say the shining light in the series, I would say, is
Bucky running around like he's Pac. No, do something.
Bucky running around like he's
Celestial coming out the sky or coming from the ground.
Oscar Isaac is doing a good job, I will say. Still, like, his acting is still very, very high quality. Like, I love some of the scenes where, even when he was confronted by the gods, and he's snapping in and out of being Stephen and Mark. I think that's just fantastic acting. And even towards the end, obviously, when Mark takes over and then lets Stephen looks at the sky and does all the calculations. Like, it's just fantastic facial features or facial expressions and stuff like that. So he's definitely doing all he can, but the narrative isn't really compelling enough, in my opinion, so far.
There's not a good enough story there. I think that's a real issue. I'm not invested.
No,
I don't know.
Neither, man.
What
I love the most as well is when he's in the suit. So Stephen says, no, Mark takes over, and he's like, everybody just chill, relax. Next thing he gets juked 1, 2, 3 pipes.
Yo, come back.
Yo, come back, man.
They were trying to put him in a spliff. It was crazy.
They were almost successful. So
had him on ropes. Homegirl Layla was fighting for her life as well in the corner.
Hey, she was getting it in as well. She was actually fighting.
Things off.
Listen,
yo,
I mean, it's a weird one. Like, it's not. I can't call it trash yet because there's some good elements, but I'm not convinced so far. Like, it's gonna take a lot. The next 3 episodes need to be really good in order for it to pull me back. So
yeah, for sure.
We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, I'm intrigued. I don't know. I've watched episode 4, and yeah, like, is what it is. That's what I'm gonna say.
I keep seeing mixed opinions on this show, so I literally don't know what to expect each week. So We'll give it.
We'll see. I mean, it could also be one of them ones where it's like, oh, how well does it stick the landing? I think one thing these shows are missing as well, it's not connected to the wider MCU, and that's a big. Has there really been any mention to the other heroes?
No, but I think that was purposeful for this. I think that was their whole bag for this,
See,
which I don't mind. I actually kind of like it. Like obviously, like Daredevil
I don't know.
doesn't have all of that, and Daredevil worked so. Oh, I know it wasn't a part of the MCU when it came out, but it worked so well because it was its own thing. Not everything has to be connected, but yeah, I mean,
true.
I can see why that would
they
be
put them, but I think you go into Daredevil with a different mindset because you're like, that's not MCU adjacent. This is. So I think one thing that the MCU properties are doing is they're just ignoring stuff. Like you can't not talk about the blip. I think the blip has to now be spoken about in every single movie or every single TV show, even just some mention of it.
But won't we get annoyed by it, like hearing it all the time? Like eventually, it's like, we get it. We get it. You blipped in it. Like we understand now.
Something like the wider world. What are we working towards here? What's the aim? Do you know what? There's always something with this one, and that's what we come to learn. Or we come to love, as in every action has a reaction. Yeah, I mean, I've seen it, so I can tell you no, but that's what we've come to learn from the MCU. But I think that's part of the because I look at every installment, every TV show, every film as a chapter, and what are you doing to move that chapter forward? At this current moment in time, Moon Knight's not doing anything.
That's fair. I do think they are, but I think that's something you're gonna have to potentially unlearn, because I think now with this new phase that I don't think there will be obviously the overarching story with the movies and to some extent the TV shows, but I think now that the universe is so big, I don't know if they can anymore. It can't just be one continuous story anymore. Like I think when they put out Miss Marvel or whatever that may be, I don't know if it's going to be a thing where it will directly lead into whatever follows next, because there's too many mouths to feed now. I think they've almost become not too big for their own good, but now it's almost like there's no big Thanos right now that we're all looking at as being scared of. So where do we go from here? You're right. What's the actual plan? So I do think, unfortunately, that's going to be the case for quite a few of these things. But I could be proven wrong. Maybe Moon Knight was just ass. So I don't know. Maybe
we'll see how it pans out.
I think Moon Knight is to link itself with Doctor Strange. Because by the time Doctor Strange comes out, I think it would be the end of Moon Knight, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know if it will link itself.
No, because of the mythology, and then also like how it somehow, some way, because my man's bringing up spirits from the ground. What's his name? The actor, who's the villain?
The villain?
Yeah, the villain.
In what? Oh, I don't know the name of the actor. Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke is conjuring up spirits from the ground in that, and he's conjuring up dogs, some evil looking dogs, and then so I think he's gonna have some form of link with Doctor Strange because of that magical, mythical.
Not bad guess actually. To be fair, I can see the
and also like,
process.
and then also with the gods as well, because I was watching one video where they basically say the gods, they don't die, they just go into their own pocket dimension. And with Doctor Strange, he's been using his magic from other dimensions and other entities in order to strengthen himself. And I think that's what we'll see in the Doctor Strange film.
All right. Well,
yeah.
May 6th, Doctor Strange comes out, so
let's see what happens.
To do a podcast being 13.
Oh, your boy.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to talk about on this episode, but yeah.
Happy days.
Happy days. Happy days.
About time.
Yeah.
We've been waiting. Anyway, Moon Knight, episode 3. Unless you man have anything else you want to add.
Nah, man.
Nah.
Flipping the work, baby.
Call and shop gods, man. It is what it is. Until next time, innit?
Until next
man.
time.
Let's go.
Love.